Aquaponics is a way of flowing and being in balance. Flow and nourishment. Flow and flourishing. Okay, I feel like I'm an AI generated tool right now trying to come up with options and ways of talking about that. But see, that's what aquaponics inspires. It's what aquaponics inspires us to do. We think about the flow and we think about how it's flourishing, how the water is moving through the system. It's peaceful. I have 3 aquaponic systems here, so 3 water pumps. You can hear water coming from different directions. That is a beautiful flow that's happening. Nice, calm, and as we can see, this is a mini tomato plant. Mini. It's like nearly a metre. It's a metre up. Yeah, you can't even see the top. It's almost hitting my roof. And this is a small tomato plant. But look at how it's flourishing in a small system. And we can do that too. We can find our own balance and our own way of flowing, and we can find our own way of flourishing. In life, I grew up being autistic. When I see something on TV, I kind of think that's reality and I get a bit confused. And the same with when people say one thing and mean another, I think that what they're saying is what they mean. So life can get very, very confusing. And especially when people, I just don't know what people do. I really don't. But I had this concept of what it was like to be successful. And I had a dream of what career I wanted to do and what I was going to do. And to me, just as an example, to have that career, you had to have this car. This car meant that career. That was how my brain worked. And anything outside of that was a failure or wasn't right. But that's how my brain worked, and that's how I thought, and that's kind of how I was raised. You know, everything needed to be in a box, categorized, and when I was introduced to aquaponics like years ago now, I didn't see it as the incredible garden therapy that was going to be for me. And after my first, it totally tanked, seriously. There was no flow of the water. It was everything that I did was flawed with that system. But I didn't know what I didn't know, which is why I was then determined to help people to learn. But when I was building the next aquaponic system, I was actually studying aquaculture at the time. And I was determined that I was not going to make those same mistakes. And I was determined to be able to help other people, to be able to build successful aquaponic systems, whatever the size. I don't help people with commercial systems though, for various ethical reasons, but I am actually trained in that, just the same. I can do it, but I choose not to. And that is actually a really interesting point about my ethics and how I flow within myself. Just saying, we have to find what our flow is so we can then flourish. Sounds a bit weird to say that, but think about it. If you try to live a life that is not you, you're going, that's how it's meant to be. Are you actually in your alignment? Are you in your flow? Or are you focusing on being someone who you're never going to be? I had all of these different career options that I eventually thought of, and not one of them was actually suitable for me. But I thought that's what you were meant to do. It's finding what works for you, because when you're in your flow, just like an aquaponic system, when it's in its flow, it flourishes. And yes, I do have an orchid at the back for those who are interested in just doing flowering plants. That's the incredible thing about aquaponics. We can grow what we want, and that represents us too. We can be who we want to be. We don't have to be anybody else. So when we start to compare ourselves, having an aquaponic system, I can come back and go, nah, I need to find my flow again so I can flourish. And I keep taking a step back and saying flourish because here is my awesome tomato plant, which incidentally is twice the size of my tomato plants in wicking beds because it has the constant water and fertilizer. So I've got the best of both worlds here. I've got the garden therapy aspect that's always kicking in for me, and I have the healthy food that's flourishing in an incredible way. Aquaponics is amazing at being able to help us in so many different ways, not just food security. Food security, awesome, we all need that, don't get me wrong. But if you're needing to look at something a little bit differently, aquaponics can be there in a on a deeper way, helping you to reset and be yourself and be your most authentic self.